Hey, everybody, it's Honesty, and this is the Right Honesty podcast. We have a special guest today, but we're going to pretend like we can belabor the reveal. Attorney General, how are you?
I am good, thank you. Better now that we're together.
Yes, I'm doing good as well, or well as well. Is that how you're supposed to say it? Um,
It don't matter.
it
We
don't
not
matter.
we won't fact check you on that.
Right. I'm overcoming a cold, and so I sound a little bit less like Grover these days. So I'm feeling good.
Hilarious.
Grover or Cookie Monster or whoever else. Uh, Folks out there, we have the one and only Rae Lyse with us.
Woo
We are, yes, anticipating holding her very accountable for her various and sundry crimes. Rae, how are you? And welcome to the podcast.
I'm good. Thank you for having me. I'm
We're
excited.
excited to have you.
Yes. Yes, yes, yes. So AG is going to lead us today. I'm going to sit back and just wait in the corner until it's time for me to jump out screaming. Uh, so let's get started.
Well, Ray should already know. She listened to our discussion, but she already knows because I was harassing her as she was writing the Sunflower series, and I was
She
making
was.
threats about
Okay.
camping out in her backyard. Always articulated the right way. I was like, "I'm gonna come to Texas. I'm gonna cry on your stoop," because
They don't have stoops in Texas. They have porches.
but
Yeah,
you
we
know
got
what I
porches.
mean. Backyard. I was going to camp outside and be like, why? And then, of
Right.
course, when I met her, though, at Indie Love last year, I behaved myself and just, express my love and adoration and admiration. But that was before I got to discuss it with the other half of my Black romance brain, and that is you, HP. And after discussing just Dominic and Joe, because she's guilty for other crimes. We're
How
just
she
not,
abused my
oh
children.
my goodness.
Didn't let them be happy.
But after discussing it with you again, I'm angry all over again. So, Ray, we coming for you when we see you at behind the thing, because now the fire has been stoked again, and my fury has been reignited. But in all seriousness, Ray, we always start with giving flowers and just truly hats off to a masterful series. Even though we
Absolutely.
only discussed Saving and the End Game. I've read all five of your books now. And, at the end of it all, another just masterpiece. And we'll talk a little bit about some of the running theme that I see how you write young Black men. And what I would just say, I said it when we discussed it, still waters run deep. I think you really, the way that you write young Black men is absolutely beautiful.
Yeah, I
Thank
would
And
agree with that.
you.
if it is intended to be a love letter to young Black men in particular, I say mission accomplished, because that
Thank you.
definitely comes across in all of your male heroine characters. So I would just as part of giving you your flowers, just say that. But for now, would love to start with your beginning, because Saving Sunflower was your first offering to us, right? As a broad reader base, but and I believe that was your first published work, correct?
Correct. Yes.
Okay.
My very first published story. Yes.
Okay. And so tell us, like, what was your journey from you have these stories, these characters in your head, and then you start getting them out on paper, so to speak, probably on your computer, and then the push that took you from they're out on paper for you to enjoy, or maybe your small circle to enjoy, and then you decide to publish. Like, just walk us through your author journey a little bit.
My author journey in general. So typically I start getting ideas towards the end of a story. So with Saving Sunflower, that was my very, very first story. Published story, all first story altogether. Before that, I like dibbled and dabbled in writing, like in junior high. But then when I got to high school, I completely stopped writing. And then in college, I didn't write anything unless it was for like a class or something like that. And then in adulthood, I found myself reading a lot of Black romance. And then I just couldn't find a particular story that I wanted to read one day, and I was like, oh, I'll try to write it. So that's how Saving Sunflower came about. Now, the
Okay.
rest of the stories, they typically, the ideas come to me like whenever I'm towards the end of a book. So,
Okay.
like, the end game came to me like towards the end of Saving Sunflower and so forth and so forth. Typically, I try to hold on to my characters as long as I can before I share them with anybody. Like it will be at the very telltale end before I even give the story, the manuscript to anybody else. That's just me. I'm just a weirdo. I'm sorry.
Not a weirdo, unique, eccentric. That's what they
Thank
eccentric
you.
is weird with
I love
money.
the
So we're gonna
synonyms. Thank
we're
you.
gonna claim eccentric for you. We're gonna claim that for your life. So then tell me this. I'm
Mhm.
glad you share that with me because tell me, so where did Saving Sunflower come from? I understand you saying, you were looking for a story and you couldn't really find the story that spoke to what you were looking for at that time. But like,
Mhm.
where did Saving Sunflower come from then? Because that's
Um,
a very unique take and presentation of these characters, I think.
mhm.
Because yeah, it's urban, but it is you go deep. You go deep, deeper than I think at least most urban fiction that I've read. So I'm just curious how Saving Sunflower came about, like the specifics of, was it, did Dominic come to you first? Claudette came to you first? Like what came to you first from Saving Sunflower?
They both actually came to me at the same time.
Okay.
And my favorite romance trope is opposites attract. I think
Okay.
if you read my books, you can gather that.
Mm-hmm.
I
Mm-hmm.
really love a good opposites attract storyline. So both characters came to me at the same time. And you hit the nail on the head as far as urban fiction. A lot of urban fiction doesn't go that deep.
Mm-hmm.
And so I could never find like a good urban fiction read where they just went like super, super deep, unless it was like Takara Allen. I think she does a really, really great job of going deep too. But I just wanted that new adult opposites attract, deep, exploring characters' backstories. So I just couldn't find that at the time. So I was like, let me try my hand at it and see if it'll come about. And then at that time, I wasn't even reading urban fiction, honestly. I was reading a lot of Nia Forrester, Love Belvin.
Okay.
I can't think of who else. I was reading just like contemporary Black romance, nothing urban. So I
Okay.
was like, ooh, let me try to put my spin on like an urban story and see where it goes, where it takes me. Oh,
Well,
and that's what I ended up with.
I tell you what, since you referenced to Kara Allen, let me thank you for not pulling a page out of her book and always killing somebody because she loved to kill somebody that you've gotten attached to. I got PTSD from dealing with Kara Allen.
Yeah,
I'm sorry.
she'll give you some PTSD. Yeah, she
Yes.
will.
Yeah. So that's interesting. And then what part of it okay, so Dominic and Chloe came to you together. And
Mhm.
then what but did the whole story come like over the course of a couple of days, a week? Like what it walk us through that timeline in terms of how, them coming to you and then what we ultimately got as Saving Sunflower.
God, I wish it would have came to me over the course of a week. Man, it took me a year to write that book, a
Wow.
whole year.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm a slow writer, first of all. I'm a very slow writer.
Shout out to the
So,
slow writers.
yes, yes. I know it's hard. People be waiting on us for the longest, but I'm like, look, you don't understand. Like my brain just doesn't work like that. I wish it did.
At all.
Yes, and so it took me a whole year to just come up with the story, and then just the edits, and then not knowing what the hell I was doing. I had no clue what I was doing, no clue. And then I didn't have any help either. Like I didn't have a community of writers to turn to for support or to answer my questions. So I'm going about all of this alone. So it was a lot of, just dang, I don't know how to do this, or I don't know if I should leave this in the story, take it out.
Hmm.
I don't know about this cover, or I don't know about this and that. So it was a lot of that as well, which I guess that's why it took me a year too. It's because I just didn't know a lot either. So
Now,
yeah.
had you done any digging online? for, like I'm just thinking just on Facebook, right? You've got Hopeful Heartbreakers and other Bourbon Street Bookers, right? Other book groups. You weren't plugged into those communities yet?
No, I'm
Okay.
not a social media person, and
Okay.
I
Okay.
wasn't before being a writer, and I'm definitely not now as a writer. I try to engage as much as I can now, but
Hmm.
even before, I've never been a social media person, not in my personal life or anything. So
Okay.
I didn't have those like great communities. Like I didn't have that at all. So all of my research is coming from like a white lens, from white independent self-published authors. So I'm having to like take their advice and seeing, how can I fine tune it and spin it to me, who I'm about to publish like a whole urban fiction novel. So it
Hmm.
was definitely difficult, just having to do that research, having to figure out what will work best for me, So, but then whenever I did publish, and then I found this whole community of people, and I'm like, oh, dang, I wish I would have had y'all from the jump, but I'm happy I have them now. So, but yeah, it was difficult at first.
And what you delivered with Saving Sunflower, again, it was so beautifully done that I'm sitting here and this is where I take my
Thank
hat off
you.
to writers, you, HP, LB, right, Nia, CCJ, on and on, Alexandria House, on and on and on, right? The list goes
Yeah.
on of the things that come out of your brains, and then the ability to get it down on paper, so to speak, in a cohesive, detailed, lyrical fashion, right? That is no
Yeah.
small thing, because I think we've all read stories. Um, HP and I've talked about this, right? You read stories where you're kind of like, I feel like not everything that was in the author's head made it onto the page, right?
Yeah.
You're seeing certain shorthand, and you're like, there's some inside stuff happening here, and you as the reader, you only have what the author has given you, right?
Right.
In the actual book, not all of what was in their head. So I do take my hat off to you that for not having, someone holding your hand and
Hmm.
community, that Saving Sunflower is as excellent as it is. That I'm
Thank
even
you.
more impressed, actually. Um, so yeah,
Thank
wow.
you. Thank you.
So sticking with Sunflower, um, taking you back then, were in light of the fact that, like you said, you didn't necessarily have someone saying, keep this in, I take this out, this is
Hmm.
not clear to me. So were there things, what were some of the things that you struggled with, in writing Sunflower? Like, were there particular scenes or certain dynamics that you had to, that were harder for you to work through than others as you were writing it basically in your own little silo?
Um, I can't pinpoint a particular thing. Well, you know what? I would say just the mechanics. Like
Okay.
how you talked about earlier, getting something from your brain and putting it down. Just the mechanics and like the pacing of the story, just learning like that ebb and flow of writing a romance story, and not knowing about romance beats and where this scene should go or what should come before this scene, in order to keep a romance reader engaged. I think
Mm-hmm.
that's what I really struggled with, compared to now where, I'm honing my craft and I study in between books on how to, improve my writing because there's always room for improvement or,
Mm-hmm.
now I'm starting to get like a team of people around me. Like, I have like an editor now who I can run things by, whenever I do get ready to share work. I'm like, hey, what do you think about this? And we can bounce things off of each other and just having that community of beta readers who will tell me, okay, this wasn't working for me, or this is a mistake, or you need to fix this. So I think just not having that during the first book, that was difficult.
Okay. And then, so you finished Sunflower,
Mhm.
and you said Joe's story came to you as you were coming to the end of Sunflower.
Yes.
Okay. And that was the same. Mo's story came to you. I should put Mo nearly at the point of death. So Mo's story came to you coming towards the end of Joe's story, or was it when you shot Mo up? You were like, "Oh, we'll give Mo a story too, because it's the
I
least we
want
can
to
do."
I want to say with Mo, it probably came. Did it come towards the end? It did. Yeah, it came towards the middle of the end game. I would say, not more
Okay.
so towards the end. I think you, like you said, whenever his character gets shot in the end game, and I was like, okay, yeah, yeah, he needs a story.
Okay.
But another thing too is I try to give all of my secondary characters. I try to give them depth, so I try to at least have them have like a goal that they're working to. It doesn't have to be like, you know, this amazing like feat that they are accomplishing, but it's just, something they have to have their own little story arc too. Just
Okay.
I don't want them there as just, just to exist as that person's best friend. Like in Saving Sunflower, although Autumn was Claudette's best friend, she had her own little tiny story arc where she shares with Claudette, about
Yep.
her first love and what happens with her.
Yep.
And with Mo trying to be a good friend to Dominic and his
Hmm.
struggle and him recognizing that Dominic is in love and pointing it out to him. So there's some backstory there with his character. So I
Hmm.
try to give all of the secondary characters at least, something to where they're not just existing as secondary characters. So
I just knew Autumn was going to end up with one of them. I was like, oh, but see, it's not. This is why you're the writer and I'm a reader because I was like,
a lot of
oh,
people thought that. A lot of
you
people
know,
thought that. But her character never spoke to me. Never
fair.
did. Not
Okay.
yeah. Outside of Saving Sunflower, never heard from her character again. I
Okay.
think she served her purpose, and yeah,
Autumn somewhere in the Caribbean with her uncle, daddy.
right.
So she's fine. She's perfectly fine.
I
And
think
then
so.
so let me ask you just want to ask quickly about Dre. So did Dre's story come to you also with the end game, or when did Dre's story
No,
come to you?
Dre's story came to me after Bunny. Actually, I don't even think it was towards the end of Bunny. I think it was maybe a little bit after I finished. One of my readers came to me in my inbox, and she was like, she was just laying out all the reasons why Dre needed a story. She was like, no, she was like, you have to give him a story. This is like it's a lot. Like he he needs a story told. And I was like, hmm. I was like, I think she's right. And then that's when I started writing. And 30 is actually my favorite out of all of them.
Okay. So what I'm hearing is that reader lobbying is effective with
No,
you. Cause
no.
Diane need a story child. Diane need a hobby more than smoking, cooking, and Jesus, girl. Can we give Diane something? I mean, poor Diane. Diane look
Listen,
like she ain't been touched by anything but the blood of Jesus in 2 decades.
this
That's
is
why
the
she's so
only time it
cranky.
worked. Just for 30, that's the only time it worked.
Poor Diane. I mean, at least Terry had Mark and was getting some, right? I mean, poor Diane just got a Bible. I mean,
Lord have
I'm just
mercy.
sorry. So, well, this is what happens when you let me run wild, HP. I mean,
I have a question. So, given that the first two are bittersweet but leaning heavily, towards sweet, and you mentioned that you were looking for a story and you couldn't find it, so you wrote it yourself. What were you seeking? Because one of the things we talked about in the episode once it posted when we discussed those books is the social issues that come forward, children being parentified, parents doing the best that they can, and sometimes that not being good enough, but also like some element of like finding joy and safety and redemption. Is that what you were after, and if not, what were you seeking when you were looking for a book and decided to write it yourself?
I think it was a little bit of that and just that depth, like we talked about earlier, just
Mm,
that backstory in an urban
okay.
fiction novel. I couldn't find it. I couldn't unless it was like a Takara Allen story, or I can't. It could be some urban fiction out there that has
Yeah.
that depth. But I hadn't come across it though, and
Hmm.
I didn't have anybody to recommend me anything. So that's really what I was looking for, just the depth, and then the rest of it just came out as I was writing. And I think another thing with Saving Sunflower, that's kind of how I found my style, I guess, for
Mm,
my storytelling style. And so
hmm.
it's continued on from there, with I don't think I purposely weave in social issues, if that makes sense. It kind of just comes along with the characters that I build.
Yeah, okay.
It's not like a purposeful, like I'm trying to do it on the nose thing. It's just I pride myself on just writing about everyday people
Hmm.
because we all have
And
our own backstories.
definitely. And that's so interesting to me that it was less about a storyline and more about a story where the characters weren't surface level characters.
Hmm.
Because for me, it is the storyline. I want to read a story about these kinds of people, or like where
Yeah,
this happens, as opposed to I want to write a story where you really fully grasp the backstory of the person. Like I think I get there, but we don't know, Chad. So my follow up to that though is, how come new adult or young adult is attractive to you?
I've been getting this question a lot lately. I don't think it's so much that it's attractive to me. I think it started off with Saving Sunflower. I just wanted to write a young adult romance, so that happened, and then it turned into a series. So each book is a spin-off of, Saving Sunflower. Like we're exploring
Hmm.
the characters from that first book, or and so forth. So it just became that thing where they just all happen to be young adult stories. I don't box myself in.
Hmm.
So, I won't say I'll never write like an adult romance or anything like that. But I mean, I'm only 5 books in. And I
Hmm.
think sometimes people forget that I'm only 5 books in. I'm like, I haven't even scratched the surface. I have so
Hmm.
many. I feel like, as an author, the world is your oyster. Like you can write about whatever you want. I definitely don't, hold myself to one thing and just say I'm only going to write this for the rest of my writing career. I'm a
Hmm.
mood writer, so I write what I'm in the mood for.
Okay.
So it's just like reading. I'm a mood reader. I read what I'm in the mood for.
Yeah.
Can we
What's
just
your,
though? Can I just? I'm sorry.
you know, go ahead.
Hone in on because they are young adult by age only, right? Chloe
Yeah.
is the closest to um typical naive 18, 19-year old. Everybody else is like in their 40s based on life experience. Like
Right.
so
Yeah.
I get categorizing it as young adult because of the ages, but I certainly didn't think any of this was young adult.
Right.
And
Yeah.
HP knows my ignorance when it comes to these categories. I don't even know what new adult means. But I'm like, who, what? But certainly young adult, as someone who's read some young adult, I'm like, this ain't the kind of young adult I'm used to. Right? Where it
Yeah.
is, they keep it more in the realm of like teenage angsty. Like this was like full grown adult angsty in the physical bodies of people who by age were, late teens, early 20s. But my God, like what they had seen, what they had experienced, um, they were more than old souls, right? And
Right.
they had wounds that were definitely not um, uh, what you think of when you think of like late teens, early 20s. And that's not to be dismissive of trauma that happens in childhood, but like these poor kids, sheesh.
Right. And I guess that's why it never occurred to me that I had a pattern of writing like new adult stories. It didn't occur to me until this last release where people were asking like about more like adult romances, and I was like, like the characters may be young, but the stories that they have and the backstory and the problems that they go through, I don't think you could just put it like in a bubble, like as far as like age goes, like
Yeah.
only new adults experience this. So it didn't even occur to me that I had that pattern, but it was really interesting. But I had this conversation with other people too, and I was like, hmm. But yeah, I'm just a mood writer. So I just write what I'm in the mood for. So if I wake up tomorrow and I want to write like an adult romance, I will definitely do it.
Hmm. I think the benefit of them being young is that you forgive a lot of their missteps.
True.
And even if it's
True.
not strategic to do that, um, in new adult, you can get away with like you ought to know better or you too old
That's
for
very
that.
true.
And so that's the only thing. And I think too, like, and I think this may go to you not necessarily being connected to the community out the gate. There are pockets of interest And there are people who are fine with new adult or young adult romance. And then there are people that are like, if they're not in their 30s, I can't relate. Or if they're not in their 40s, or if they're not millionaires, or if it's not this amount of
Yeah.
drama or this amount of violence. And so you'll see almost trends with like what is popular in the groups at the moment, because typically it'll be like this one title, oh, I found this is amazing, and then this title is just like that, and then this one, and then this one, and then kind of when that wave passes, then another wave comes in. But I was just curious about like that age group, because there are definitely some benefits to writing folks who are coming into maturity, because if we had seen these same issues and these same responses with people 20 years their senior, it would have been like, okay, now wait a minute.
Right. Yeah.
Don't you feel like you ought to figure this out by now? You don't feel like that?
Yeah.
Like that you still going through this same foolishness, you don't want to have no grown up problems.
Hilarious.
So yeah.
Yeah, you're right. I have noticed since scrolling and looking in the groups on Facebook and stuff, I have noticed, yeah,
Hmm.
people they gravitate toward certain tropes.
Yeah,
That's
for
their
sure.
thing. That's what they like to read. Yeah.
So, okay. I'm just trying to think. I'm looking at my notes here. And so, was there anything, because let's stay with Saving Sunflower a little bit. Was there anything that ended up on the cutting room floor for you from Saving
Oh yeah, a
Sunflower?
ton of stuff. A lot of stuff. I don't even
Oh,
think I still
Really?
have
oh,
the stuff that I
really?
cut. Yeah.
We need to know.
I
Itemize,
was about to
please.
say, I mean, you have our email.
It's not the stuff y'all wanted, I promise.
Don't tell me what I want. I know my own mind.
I'm telling y'all, it's not the stuff y'all wanted. It's
Well,
not
give us an
at
example, right?
all.
Give us just like, is there one example that comes to mind?
Or a theme of the kinds of
Yeah.
things.
One example I can give you is it's a scene that I wrote or started writing. It was with Dominic and his mom. It was like a flashback,
Okay.
and I took it out because I was like, I'm gonna leave this out and not put that flashback in there. I think
Was
the
it a
only
sad
flashback
flashback?
it was. That's why I say I don't think you would want it. Yeah, it was a sad flashback. So I left it out. Yeah,
Hmm.
it wasn't good stuff that y'all wanted.
Well,
Well,
I
no, I
mean,
think go ahead.
no, go ahead, HP.
I was just gonna say, I think we knew based on the exposition
Yes,
that life for
Yeah.
yes,
him hadn't been a crystal stair.
yeah.
Um, but I think, and of course, like we respect that journey and your authorial rights to keep in and cut out. But I also feel like um depending if it's like gratuitous, then it's like, now
Mhm.
all right, now you didn't make my stomach hurt. But if it's, but if, like you're saying, if it adds that depth, then it's really like, oh, we get to see little baby Nick. I'm
Mhm.
reminded of I want to call him Earl, but that ain't his name in public. What's the man name? He passed away, y'all. His name is Earl. And
Who?
he was,
What?
y'all gonna make me lose my mind. Up, what's his name?
Oh,
Oh,
DMX.
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 DMX. You called him by his government
She
name.
Right.
sure
I'm
did.
like, what is the
She's
man
like
name?
Earl Jerome Simmons. Who?
Exactly. But I remember watching, I don't know if it was MTV, the TV, it wouldn't have been TV1 because it was before that, MTV or BET, but he was talking about growing up, and I think he was either home alone or like his mom was doing something else, and he was so hungry that he broke a perfume bottle and tried to drink
Mm.
it, hoping that it was going to be sustenance or food. And my
Mm.
heart
Oh
broke
my.
for
Wow.
little baby Earl,
Mm.
like being that hungry that he is like literally trying anything
Mhm.
to be fed. And so even though scenes like that are heart-wrenching, I think
Mhm.
they give you a little bit more of like, this was real. Like this was
Mhm.
not, it wasn't a little bit sad, it was always sad. Like
Yeah.
Yeah.
um so for you, did it feel gratuitous, or did it feel like maybe I just don't want to step all the way over there on my first go, or kind of what was that calculus?
It was that I didn't want to step all the way over there. I feel like the story was already lengthy at that point, and I just felt like it was better leaving it out.
Okay.
It didn't. I don't think it enhanced anything. I think it just gave you more backstory, but I feel like by that point there was already enough backstory weaved within the storyline
Hmm.
already, and I felt it was best to just to leave it. I wish I still had that scene.
Mm.
I gotta go
Well,
look for that now.
I will tell you this. It certainly did not feel as if you glossed over
Yeah.
what life with Eve was like, right?
Right.
What you gave us a clear picture that it was hell, and also he loved his mother,
Yeah.
and so both of those things came through very powerfully, just how dire and desperate the situation was,
Hmm.
and how much he loved her, but also those conflicting emotions, right? Like there was so much love there for her, but the anger and the resentment for their conditions, the fact that he never knew who his father was and he didn't think she knew either, and all of that came through. So I guess if it was a scene that just gave us more of that, what you gave us accomplished that, right?
Yeah.
I don't think there was any way to walk away from his flashbacks or the snippets that he shared either with Chloe, mostly with Chloe, right? It wouldn't have been with anybody
Hmm.
else because everybody else knew, or everybody
Yeah.
who needed to know knew. Um, but those little snippets were just like, oh my god, this is awful. Like this, this was
Yeah.
clearly awful. And I think to that, his relationship with Eve, and then also the way you gave us his relationship with Diane, and we talked about this, right? When HP
Hmm.
and I discussed the book, just the tension between the two. Like, there's a lot of love there too, but also these conflicting emotions, from nephew to aunt and vice versa about their circumstances.
Right.
And yeah, it was better than the situation he had with Eve, but it didn't change the fact that from his perspective, he still had to do what he had to do. Like his aunt could be,
Right.
calling out the name of Jesus all day long, but that was not keeping the lights on.
Right.
Um,
Right.
so I think even though there weren't a ton of scenes between the two of them,
Hmm.
there was enough of the two of them together and then them talking about each other, right? And then
Hmm.
also Joe's, kind of continues into the end game when Joe is giving his perspective, that you got this picture of the complicated dynamics between Dominic and Diane, and also between Joe and Diane, right?
Yeah.
So I'm curious, Rae, because where do you come out on? I'm jumping a little bit ahead, but where do you come out on Terry and Diane?
Mm, one thing I can say is I feel like I write a lot of morally gray characters,
Mm,
people that you don't you don't know if you like them or you hate them. And I feel like I'm on the fence about both of them. Well, from Terry's perspective, I can see where she was coming from because if I was in Terry's shoes, I would feel the same way.
hmm
However, I understand it's a romance and people are going to go against, whoever's giving the main two characters trouble from having their happily ever after.
hmm
So I don't necessarily see Terry as a villain. Was she bitter at times? Yeah, but also knew that it came from a place of her just wanting better for Jade and then not knowing Josiah and not trusting that, he could do his part if they're going to be together and be a couple because he was so young. I mean, if I was in her shoes, I would feel the same way. Just that's my perspective. Diane, I feel like, yeah, yeah, still don't know where I stand with Diane. Yeah, I feel like she's like that quintessential, like emotionally immature parent.
Mm.
Like you're not allowed to feel around her. Like
Yeah.
any emotion is, I think you're doing a whole lot, or you shouldn't feel that way, or you have the basics, you should be good, or
Hmm.
we're not gonna have these conversations because that's my business, it's not your business. So I
Right.
definitely I feel like she's that emotionally immature parent, you know. But I feel like a lot of us experience growing up, and you don't realize into adulthood that dang, my parents are really emotionally immature. And
Yeah.
I have to, figure out how to navigate this as an adult. Like, how do I communicate with them as a 30-year-old now, and they're in their 60s and they still haven't matured.
Right.
Hmm.
So, yeah.
Right.
AG let me know that you are or were a social worker. Are you currently a social worker or are you full-time writing now?
I wish I was full-time writing. I am still a full-time social worker.
Okay.
We claiming it.
Still
We
out
claiming
there.
it. We claiming
I'm
it.
claiming,
Right.
yeah.
By the end of the year, let's do it. Um,
Yes, yes.
and so do you bring any of that, depending on what population you work with, do you bring any of that to your work, you think, or not really?
Actually, for the Sun series, I did not.
Mm.
I would say for this new release, maybe just a tad, just a little bit, because I'm a medical social worker, so I work with
Ah,
adults. I don't
okay.
Okay.
work too much
Okay.
with kids. I don't work in CPS. I don't work in the school. So yeah, in the Sun series, I didn't really bring any of that into my
Mm-hmm.
writing. Now, at the end of it all, just a tad bit, just like from the medical perspective, but the other stuff, not so much.
Okay.
Mhm.
We'll have to talk offline about why you chose that sector. Just because I'm curious. I'm a licensed professional counselor, but I've seen Cradle to
Oh,
Grave, but I'm always curious about medical social workers because that's such an interesting world. And it's not like anything else.
it's not. It's definitely not. Let's talk. Yes, let's
Yeah,
talk.
we'll definitely talk offline.
Yeah.
Um, my follow-up to this is about you were mentioning that you're a mood writer. Um,
Mhm.
what's your process? So we've asked other authors, do you light a candle? Is it a special area of your house? Do you gotta have the light just so? What is it like when you sit down to write? Or you're like, yeah, I could be in a line at the Starbucks and I'm gonna do it on my phone. Like, how does that work for you?
I think it's changed over the years since I first published Saving Sunflower. Back when I was writing like Saving Sunflower and the End Game, I could write anywhere. Like you said, I could write in the line at Starbucks, I could write in the car, I could write, when I'm sitting at somebody's house, I could write, on breaks at work. But now as I've published more, it is harder to, I guess, find that get in that mode, like that creative mode. And a lot of it
Mm,
too is it could be a little burnout just because I work full time too.
yeah,
So
that's
dealing with work,
rough.
yeah, and I'm sure you understand
Oh
dealing
my
with
my.
work, yeah, dealing with work and then having to come home and meet a word count. Like really?
Mm-hmm.
So
So,
now I would say it's a little more not regimented. I wish it was. I write on my phone still. I still write on my phone, but now I have more like I'm working towards goals. Like if I could just get this many words down this week, I'm good.
wait a
Mm,
minute.
okay.
When you say you write on your phone,
Hmm.
are you doing voice notes? You're thumbing it like texting?
I am thumbing it, Adrian. I am
Lord have
thumbing it.
That's the
mercy.
best way to
Yes,
do it. I'm gonna be
Lord
honest
have
with you.
it
mercy.
I do that
is.
too.
Yes, it's wonderful. It's something about a computer that's intimidating.
Absolutely.
Yes,
Absolutely.
like you open that screen and you're like,
Exact the like I write in Scrivener, but and I have a big monitor and it's just too much white space. It's
it
terrifying.
is.
But on my phone, it's like I'm writing a text. Yeah.
Yes, I use Scrivener for editing, but yes, you're right. On the phone, it's like writing a text to somebody, like a little letter. Like,
Yeah, it's so much
Wow.
less stressful than trying to sit, and it feels more like work when you're sitting at a desk, at
it
a
does.
computer, and it's like, but like if you on the couch on your phone and like you got something going on in the background or whatever, it just for some reason you just get more. I do get more words that way, so I totally understand.
Absolutely, yes.
Well, now that you've described it in that way, it makes sense. I guess for me, and the fact that arthritis runs in my family, I'm sitting there thinking of, because I mean, Ray, HP continues to educate me on like word count and what that looks like in terms of pages. But all of these books were several hundred pages, honey. So I mean, that's
Yeah,
tens of thousands of words that you were sitting there with your right and left thumbs just banging it out on your iPhone or your Android or whatever
I
you use.
know.
Lord have mercy. Oh my goodness.
Yeah, I think every book has been over 100,000 words.
Mm,
Even
mm,
30,
mm,
the shortest was over like 100,000 words.
mm, mm.
It's a lot, but I don't think about it until I start editing. It's out of sight, out of mind until I sit down and I'm like, damn, why did I write this much?
And then Ray, is the flow of the story as it comes to you, is it linear or right? Because we've heard folks who say the end always comes to them first, and snatches and pieces. Like, how is your flow in terms of how the story comes to you?
It depends on the story, first of
Okay.
all. So some stories, bits and pieces will come, and then I'll work at it. And then,
Hmm.
like, the best stories are when you're finishing a scene and the next one automatically comes to you.
Okay.
The hardest ones to write are whenever the scenes are just not coming to you as you thought they were. I would say, at the end of it all, I definitely wrote it completely out of order, which I hated when it was time for me to edit it because it was a lot of maneuvering, moving stuff
Yeah.
around, taking stuff out because it was just completely written out of order. The end game, oh, it just came out so beautifully. It was so easy, so stress
Mm.
free.
And Endgame is my
It's so easy.
favorite. Oh, my
Oh,
Josiah.
Jojo.
Oh,
Aw.
I just wanted to put his head in my ample bosom and just smother him, not to the point of suffocation, but like smother him with my love. Oh, oh, Ray. And I think, like we talked about, like he was willing to just be so much more vulnerable, right? Like Nick
Yeah, he
was
was.
just, and it's not that he was trying to make Claudette work for it, but she had to work for it because
He did.
that just wasn't his personality, right? Whereas Joe was just, it was clear that yes, Jade had the key to his lock, but that
Yeah,
Joe's personality was one where he was just a lot more open, right? It's
yeah,
still tough. It's not like there was ever a reason to question Joe's masculinity or his strength or anything like that, right? But he was just
right.
not afraid to wear his heart on his sleeve, so to speak. Um,
Yeah, he was sweet. And I think that's how Jade described him early on in the book. She was like, he's sweet. And she
Yeah.
didn't realize that at first.
and I do not forgive you for what you did to Kiana.
I know.
I
Oh,
do not forgive you. I know that was important to his arc, but oh my
yeah.
god! And I mean, seriously, between the scene at the cemetery, child, I was like, why? What is wrong with this woman? What kind of person does this? Jesus Christ! Like, because it couldn't just be that Kiana was killed by a stray bullet by someone they didn't know or someone who was an established enemy. Here come evil, brilliant Rae Lyse. No, no, no. I'm gonna make it someone who was a friend, and they just
Yeah.
got caught up. And I was just like, why? Because
I'm
that just
sorry.
added. You understood how that added to just the awful guilt, right?
Yeah.
The it wasn't gonna, what he did was not going to bring Kiana back. Nothing would, right? And
Right.
but also having to live with having taken a life. And it's one thing when you take the life of someone you don't know, and maybe after a certain point, when the retribution, the feeling of retribution dies down, you settle into the fact that you took a life. Maybe not, right? But for it to
Right.
have been someone that was a friend before things just went horribly off the rails, just
Right.
shame on you.
I'm sorry. I'm sorry.
HP, I
Bless
will
your heart.
recover. I have to recover. You take over.
Okay. Um, so I think my next question is about like where you see, well, twofold, and I'll ask the harder one first. So it's one thing to write a story and put it out there. It's another reason for a whole lot of people to read it. And
Yeah.
so, how has that been? How has it been sort of watching how people receive your work, interacting online? If you engage or read reviews, first of all, do you? And if you do, how do you handle any feelings that might come up? What has that been like? Just finding popularity as an author?
I think it's been a beautiful thing. It's been difficult at
Hmm.
times, but also
Hmm.
beautiful. Like you said, it's really scary sharing your art with the world because when you're creating, it's like your little baby. So
Hmm.
it just belongs to you. And I always look at it like once I'm done and it's polished and completed and I release it to the world, like it's not my baby anymore because then people start like dissecting it and discussing
Yeah.
it and
And
pointing out
projecting
what they
onto
liked and
it.
what they, yeah,
Mm-hmm.
projecting, pointing out what they hated, what they love. It's difficult. I don't read reviews. I used to. back when I was writing Saving Sunflower in the end game, but I stopped. I think actually, you know what? I'm lying. I will read the first maybe 25 reviews just to get a good gauge on what people feel like if
Hmm.
they like the story or not. And then after that, I completely stop and I just go periodically just to check the performance and the numbers. But I feel
Hmm.
like that first 25 give you a good gauge on how people will generally receive the story because you have what I've noticed is like you have people who will like tear through like 100,000 page word book in a night and go
Hmm.
immediately leave their review the next day.
Yep.
And those first 25 are the most honest most of the time. So yeah. I don't, yeah. Unless somebody like does like a review for like their blog or like, you know, their book blog or something, they send it to me. I typically don't read them. I feel like if I want some type of honest feedback, I will go to either my editor or the beta readers and
Okay.
see, ask for their advice.
Okay.
Okay.
My follow up to that is what do you see is next for you? So we talked a little bit about like, writing full time or like
Mhm.
how do you see this writing thing going for you? Where do you want to be this time next year or this time the year after that?
This time next year, I want to be writing full time. That is like
Hmm.
my ultimate goal. Be writing full time.
Yeah.
It's definitely more stories though. Like I'm only 5 books in, so I have a
Hmm.
lot more. You know, there's some people who've been in the game. They're what 60, 69, 70 books in. So and
Hmm.
I'm only five, so it's a lot more to go. A lot more stories to tell.
Yeah.
Definitely.
Yeah. Go ahead, AG.
I was gonna bring us back to Endgame as I can. This has to be partly a therapy session, Rae. I mean, I'm trying to stay professional, but I want to know when you were writing Saving Sunflower, did you know how deep the waters would be for Josiah? Because
Mm-hmm.
we get like flashes of Josiah, right? And definitely did not think, based on what we were seeing, of course, he's a senior in high school at the time.
Mm-hmm.
But I mean, was that a bit of a surprise to you as his story started coming to you? And you were like, oh yeah, yeah. Because you'd already given us, right? Dominic is a significant character with all that has happened to him and what he's doing and so on and so forth. And Joe is positioned as the one who, yes, he dabbles in a little something
Mm-hmm.
something, right? But never crosses the line too much until we get
Right.
to his story, and then we're like, oh, good. He crossed the ultimate line, and he's also the athlete and the one that everybody has pinned their hopes. So I'm curious to know, like, when did Joe's depth come to you?
It didn't come initially in Saving Sunflower. It came whenever I got further into the end game.
Okay,
And usually that's kind of how it goes. Like, I'll have a general idea of what the character's backstory might be. And it doesn't matter like how much I try to stray away from that backstory. If it's something that keeps coming to me, then I know that that's their backstory,
okay.
if that makes sense. Like, I will try to pull away, go a different direction. They're like, no, this is my story. So with his, it definitely came out as I got further along into the story and different things just kept coming up into my mind. And I was like, okay, this is his backstory.
So was the not that I want to harp on it, but what happened with Kiana and Terrell, was that one
Mhm.
of those things that it kept coming to you, you kept coming back to it, or you were writing on your phone and the diabolical idea struck and you were like, I know what I'm going to do.
You're not diabolical.
I'll give him a dead girlfriend. No, 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 no. We're gonna take it up a notch. She gonna get killed in front of him. That's what we gonna do at a house party. Yep.
Oh man.
As she
So
was running towards him. Oh, you're evil, evil. I'm sorry. Go ahead, answer the question.
Lord. So with that, it was one of those things that just kept coming to me. I kept trying to, it was certain things I kept trying to stray away from with his story, and it just
Mm-hmm.
kept coming. I was like, okay, it is what it is. I'm just gonna have to write it because ultimately it's his story to tell. You
Yeah.
know, whether it resonates with people or not, I have no clue, but I was like, I'm just gonna have to write it that way because I don't I want to do his character justice in my book, you know.
Hmm. Hmm.
So yeah, it just ended up that way. I'm
And you know,
sorry.
we talked the reading level, right? And the
Hmm.
fact that he had been passed along. And
Yeah,
right, that's not a stretch. That's not a stretch at all in light of how talented he was as an athlete. Um, but also realizing that why would that have been something, well, not why, but it made sense though, based on what you had told us about the family dynamic,
right.
that Diane would not have keyed into that, that Dominic wouldn't have known that, right? That his
Hmm.
boys wouldn't have known that. Because it's not like they cracking open textbooks in front of each other, like, all right, bro, like, go on, read this chemistry textbook for me. So, how would anyone have known that he was at grade school level, and
Right.
struggling as a college sophomore? Right.
Hmm.
And the embarrassment, but then, Jade's commitment to working with him on that, was just another layer to, beautiful JoJo. I just love him so much.
I know, he's so sweet. I love
Just
JoJo.
like HP
Yeah,
said, he
he was
just
a
wanted a
sweetheart.
family, right? He just wanted a family. His
Yep.
relationship with Journey. Oh my goodness, hard eyes
Which was the
forever.
cutest thing in the world. And I just can
Yeah,
see Journey and Eve. That's the baby name, right?
Yes, Evie. Hmm.
Hmm.
yeah,
Growing up together, and it really made for a really happy ending. I do have an assignment for you though as we come to a close. We'll honor our commitment. Um, I'm gonna need you to revisit them so we can do a family style book, and I need him to be in the league, which I know he is. I'm gonna need Nick to be at the top of his game, and I need everybody to be rich, famous, happy, and safe. And I would gladly take. You don't even have to do 400 page. Give me 250 page, 250
give you
pages.
250, give you
Hilarious.
250. All right.
Just a smooth 250 of happiness and joy, and we'll be even. We'll be good.
Hilarious.
Oh
Hilarious.
man,
I'll
See,
send you the outline. Don't worry. I can hook you up now. I'm not gonna make you do all the work. I'll send you a good outline.
you're gonna do a part of it. I got you. I got
Yes.
HP is trying to keep us disciplined. I don't want to stick to the hour. I want to go longer. Okay, fine. So let me make sure I get my questions in. So, Rae, just as I asked you with Saving Sunflower, is there something that is at top of mind that was ended up on the cutting room floor for the end game?
No, actually, I didn't
Okay.
leave anything out of the end game. That was the
Okay.
book that just definitely flowed. It was super easy to write. But I think it's because at that time Saving Sunflower hadn't been published yet. So at that time I had finished Saving Sunflower. I found an editor to send it to, and she
Mhm.
had it for quite some time. So I just automatically started going into the end game. And so
Okay.
to me, it's easier to write when you don't have like that expectation or people waiting on you. Like when you have like people waiting or like that expectation of like, you know, what's next or what does she have coming out, it makes it sometimes it can stifle your creativity because it's like that pressure on you.
Mhm. Mhm.
So, I feel like with the end game and Saving Sunflower, that was whenever I didn't have that pressure. I could just kind of like create freely without, anybody, wondering what am I doing? Am I just
Yeah.
sitting around twiddling my thumbs or just, not creating? So yeah,
And,
it can
and
be
and
hard.
HP, you don't know this because you don't. I don't think you follow the summer, but Rae reopens her author page when something is coming out, and then after a certain period of time, she sunsets it, and
I
That makes
do.
perfect sense to me.
she's like, "We're closing for now. We'll be
Yeah,
I'll
I
back."
talk
see
to you
y'all when
guys
I got something
later.
else to offer. Yeah.
Yeah, talk to you guys later. Yeah, because I just
I
it's hard to create whenever, and then even being on social media because you see what everybody's doing
Yes,
constantly.
mm-hmm.
yes.
Somebody's always releasing a book. Somebody has reached this milestone, and then it puts like this dread or like this anxiety. It shouldn't, but it does. Like it makes you anxious,
Yeah, that's
and
why I'm
then
quiet.
yeah,
So I understand.
yes, like to me, that is the best way to create is just in your own quiet, Nice bubble.
Yeah. I'm in a war right now with a couple projects. We'll see. We don't know. I might be retired. I might publish. We don't know.
That's not funny. That's not funny.
I'm just
That is
telling
No,
y'all,
not retired. No,
I'm
you
in a
gotta keep
hardcore
going.
argument with my brain. So we'll do what we can. I don't know.
she
It's
But
gonna
claims
come.
she
It's
claims
gonna
that
come.
She claims that Nia made her want to retire in the
she
best way
did.
possible. So,
What?
and we are
No, you
rejecting that.
can't.
We're doing a Diane, and we rebuke it in the name of Jesus. We're gonna rebuke it. We're gonna rebuke it.
No, you can't retire.
Yeah, my
You
brain is
can't.
like writing more than an email. Why would we do that? So we'll see. I've been working with another author though in the morning time, getting up in the morning and just putting something on the page. But
Yeah.
so yeah. What is your how long do you feel comfortable waiting until you start something else?
So that's another thing that I'm working on. Before I would give myself like a month in between books, but now I'm trying to like hold myself accountable more and trying to, put myself on that schedule. So like now I'm writing and working on something else. So,
Really?
and that's hard for me to say, yeah, because usually I'll just say nothing. But yeah, I've started on something else. Not
Well,
saying
that
how
it
long
don't
it's
mean
gonna.
that that's something that's gonna materialize, but
That's true.
I'm
True.
very surprised that like you, especially because you write such lengthy books. I am gonna hug you when I meet you, but just because I want
Oh,
to be bit by the 500, 450 page bug, because after about when like 75,000 words to me is like, what more can I say? God, I mean, Jesus, what do you, you know what I mean?
you don't want to
So
be bitten by this bug. You
I
don't because
do. I
you
wanna
will
be,
go straight to burnout. You will
it's
go
true.
straight to
I'm
burnout.
there anyway, so but I
well,
do I want to eventually be able to write because even my longest project, if it's the two-parter, if you put them together, I think
Hmm.
it's maybe 200,000 words, but that was a slog for me. I'm like, hit it and quit it. Can I give you 15,000? Let me give you one and a half scenes. Are you all right with that?
Just a little 15. That's it. Just a little
Right.
15.
and
And see,
Rae,
I want to get to that point. I want to get to like being able to tell like a complete full length romance story just in like 75,000 words. I want to get to that point.
Mm, okay.
because at the end of it all has not
Mhm.
even been out a month.
No, it hasn't.
So, so the fact that you're already ready, starting on something else, wherever that takes you, you
Hmm.
know. And how long did it take you to write that one?
God, too long. Wait, that was another long journey
Mm,
where I started writing it last summer after like a month after 30. And then some things happened along the way. I had some health issues. I had life was happening. And so I was still actively writing, but it wasn't coming out as fast as the other books, but it was still happening.
Mm-hmm.
And just, it just took a lot longer than, what I anticipated. So that was another long project and ended up being lengthy in word count. But at the end of it, I couldn't cut anything because of how I had written it. Like
I'm
if I
mm-hmm.
would
glad
have
you
cut
didn't.
it,
I'm glad you didn't.
thank you. If I did, I would have shortchanged the characters definitely. So everything had to stay put.
I'm going to cheat a little bit because where did Ace come from?
Man, I don't even know. I have no clue where Ace came from. It was that, you know what? It was that thing, that trope. I like opposites attract. And it was that spin where I hadn't seen it done like that in Black romance. And I said, I have to write the story. That's where he came from, actually.
Okay.
Mm.
Okay.
That is where he came from.
It's a beautiful story. It
Thank
really is
you.
because Ace does not bring the kind of Ace's trauma is different, right?
It
And the fact that
is.
he had a silver spoon did not eliminate what he had been through, but he
No.
reminded me of Joe in that the vulnerability with Fat was
Yeah.
there from the very beginning. You know,
Yeah.
the willingness to be vulnerable with her. Um, and it was more her inexperience with life in terms of figuring out what was happening between them, not because he was playing games or he was being obtuse. Where, I think, in fairness to Claudette, Dominic was not helping her figure him out.
Hmm.
So she was trying to do that on her own. Um,
Hmm.
and Jade was navigating her own baggage.
Right.
Not so much Joe hiding what he felt about her. And Bunny and Mo was just a mess, honey. I was just like, I can't with these two people. I cannot. I'm glad they have each other, but these two people,
They were a hot mess. They were,
they
yeah.
really were. And Dre and Tosh were also their own. They were not a hot mess. But you just kind of understood Dre coming home after almost a decade in prison, had to navigate some things and adjust. His relationship with his daughter was beautiful, and Joe's relationship with her was beautiful as well.
Yeah.
And so I guess it was like once you saw how Joe interacted with Audriana, his relationship with Journey, his relationship with Evie, like Joe love the kids. Joe love the kids.
He does.
Joe love the kids. Joe love the kids. So I'm already 2 minutes over, but she's going to give me time. So we know that you're going to be at Behind the Pen, and I know you're going to be at some other places. So why don't you tell us where you're going to be this year, where readers can run up on you and hug you, of course, in terms of author events.
So I'll be at Indie Love in June.
Mm-hmm.
Ooh, let me look up the dates. I don't want to tell y'all the wrong day. Hold on. Definitely going to be at Indie Love in June. And then I will be at, hold on. I want to say Indie Love is June 23rd.
Yeah, I knew it's in the 20s. Child, I got tickets. I mean, so I should remember too. I don't have a plane ticket yet, but I have a ticket.
Listen, me either. I don't have my plane ticket yet either. So we on the same wavelength. Okay, it's June 24th. Indie Love, June 24th. It's sold out, but I do believe if you show up, they won't turn you away. You can pay at the door.
I think she said something like that. Yep.
Yeah. And then Behind the Pen in August the 12th.
Mm-hmm.
And then in September, I will be at the Girlfriends Unfiltered. I don't want to say the name wrong for the event. I can find it, but that's in September.
Is that the one in California?
Yeah, that's going to be in Pasadena.
Okay. West Coast getting some love. Mm-hmm.
Yes. Hold on. Let me get the date. I don't want to say it wrong. Sorry. Okay. So that one's September the 16th.
Okay.
Yes.
Nice. Well, we will see you in August before I drag Adrian to dinner after the event. And I'm going to try to get bit by this 300,000 word.
Listen, I warned you. I warned you. You don't want that. You don't want those problems.
I hear you.
You sit down to edit and you're like, what did I do?
Right. She'll be nagging. Like, nah, I can't stop. We need to go find Rae Lyse and put a hex on her or something.
I would love to not be able to stop these days, but I hear what y'all saying. Okay. Well, thank you so much for coming. We really appreciate your time. This has been lovely.
Yes.
And now you know exactly what to expect from us when we empty the line in front of your table and sit across from you and have another session.
Like Rae is done for the day. Thanks for coming.
Thanks for coming.
No, she's not talking to anybody else. She's just only talking to us.
So buy your book over, leave your cash in the corner. Okay?
Exactly.
You want a book, just leave it over there. We'll work you out on the back end. Fill this form out.
Exactly.
Yes, indeed.
Well, Rae, I hope that you felt our love and adoration, even in the midst of our crazy. And
awesome. Thank you.
Continue to write. We'll be in the wings. Who knows when we swoop down again?
Right.
To nag you about some of these characters, but keep doing what you're doing because you have something special. It is distinct. And so however, the bumps and bruises of finding your rhythm, I think you have found it. And so we just continue to wish you the absolute best. We are claiming full-time writing for you. What did we say, HP, by the end of this year?
By the end of the year, let's do it.
Well, okay, fine. Now I'm going to go sacrifice a chicken.
Exactly.
Make sure be on the safe side. Maybe a goat, just in case.
Hey,
I
whatever
won't
you gotta do, whatever you gotta
Right.
do.
I won't set it on fire though, because in New Jersey, burnt sacrifices are illegal. So,
Well, don't
we'll
do that
find,
now.
yeah, no, I don't want to end up in jail. But like, I'm trying to do this for one of our author friends to help her get her
I'm
prayer
helping.
answered.
I'm helping.
I'm channeling the Old Testament. I don't think
Right.
that will go over well. So,
I love it. I love it.
and we love you, Rae. Have a good
Thank you
one.
guys so
All
much.
right. Bye
Y'all
bye.
too. Thank you.
Bye bye.
Bye.